Well, good morning and welcome to Opening the Door to the Unknown. I'm your host, Dr. Clark Schmidt, or Magus 100. Well, we only got three chapters to go for Opening Doors to the Unknown. It has been fun creating book one for you on the metaphysical and esoterical, and also working on book two, which is on UFOs. Um, and I hope that you have enjoyed what you've been watching. When you do watch, and I hope that you take down some at least some notes, because, like I said, a lot of things in the UFO field are are really changing. Not talking about the sightings that have been reported around the United States and overseas. But I just want to mention very quickly about the people who have been working trying to get disclosure by the government to come out and tell the people that yes, UFOs and aliens really do exist. But we UFO researchers and investigators have been trying to convince the American people that yes, um, there are races out there in the universe that have come here throughout millenniums um, to observe and also to interact with with human beings. You can find a lot of it in the Bible. You can, if you go to Egypt and look at the pyramids and what's inside the chambers, you will see pictures. Also, if you have any type of maybe caves in your state that you have spelunked, and have seen writings on the walls, or if you've gone overseas like England for Stonehenge, um, Easter Island, um, Peru for an example, um, with the um, um, try it again, cattle mutilations. There are all types of innuendos and also hints is that of the visitations by these races. So it's just it's just not something that we just talk about just to talk about. Okay, as they say, the proof is in the pudding, and everybody goes back to prove it. Everybody goes back to in 1947 with Roswell and Aztec, New Mexico, for an example. Some people might say, some researchers and investigators say as well, that it was the beginning of the UFO phenomena. But remember, I mentioned going back a little bit further in 40, 41, 42, or 41 in California. Of course, we can always go back to the early again back to the 1860s when people were seeing strange object in the skies that were not even created yet. Or going back to 14th, 15th, 16th century paintings where some of the artists have shown a flying object in the background, for an example. So I mean, again, there has been, and also again, I should mention the Bible. Also in the book, also within the book of Enoch, there has been mentioning of aliens coming down to visit. So, like I said, it's just not innuendos, but actually, like I said, there has been um, a great amount of yeah, I'm going to use the word great amount of speculation, but but with that speculation comes, just like in just like in with paranormal phenomena of EVPs for investigators are investigating haunted houses. Again with possession. Okay. So you I don't want to say skeptics. Thank you. But you're going to have the skeptics. You're always going to have skeptics in both fields of metaphysics and also on ufology. I have not talked about the MJ12. Um, I think is that a lot of people have written books on the subject, especially Stanton Friedman, who has done extensive research on. But for the last two chapters, I'll be getting into abductions and also what I call is the aviary. These are the actual skeptics who are trying to disavow that UFOs do exist. Um, and these are scientists and doctors. Um, and again, the aviary is. I mentioned the Black Brotherhood for an example. Aleister Crowley mentioned the Great White Brotherhood and the Black Brotherhood. Um, the Aviary is part of the Black Brotherhood. I'm not classifying them as a new world. I'm not classifying them as the new world order, but a lot of them kind of associate themselves. But like I said, that's going to be the last chapter of opening the door to the unknown. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to be continue creating um, um, videos. I hope um, that I can change the format can change the format just a bit to start having interviews with people. I'm still working on that. Um, as I mentioned in the last video, I will be interviewing Dr. Donna Harris from Kent, England. Probably next week. Right now, she's busy. She's just created she and a friend have just created an online metaphysical store, and so I'm giving her just a little time to really get things set up correctly. So I do feel is that the interview will be by the end of next week, so I can get it up on my channel. So, like I said, I hope that you have enjoyed um, in book one with the paranormal aspect, and I hope that you have been enjoying book two on the UFO aspect. I try to give information that I know through research that I have done through many years. And also a little help by and also a little help by other researchers. Like I said, this morning I'm going to be talking about alien entities. I have not done much on the subject besides with the Greys and with the reptilians and also with some other type of races. So I will be using my notes here, giving you the names, where they come from, and it's very long. Okay, it's very long, and a lot of the names that I'm going to be mentioning here are how should I say, have been given through people who have been contactees, especially like George Van Tassel and George Hunt Williamson, and people that I mentioned going back into the 50s and 60s with Betty and Barney Hill, and Travis Walton and other people. Okay, also by supposedly what the government knows about aliens as well. Like I said, is that there's been a group for the last 10 years that's been trying to get disclosure. I feel is that the disclosure has already been out there. Just with all the research and investigations have been done, like with Linda Morton Howe, for an example, again with Stanton Freeman, Don Schmidt, oh, and other people, including myself. And also people who did with the and also with the people at Nightcap who worked with Project Blue Book, like and like the Lorenzos from April. April, and yes, even Bigelow with MUFON, and I'll be talking about the Skinwalker Ranch during the last um, segment of the book. Okay, it's because I do feel is that with the Skinwalker Ranch, it's very it is very try it again. A lot of coffee so far. Has been it is very interesting, I should say. Okay, so with all this being in mind, let me begin on this chapter called Alien Races. I'm going to go from A to Z, a lot of them. And like I said, some you can take for face value by what I read to you or give you and give you my own opinions. And, and your ideas, if any ideas happen to crop up as I'm talking here. But that's the idea. That's how one gains. That's the way one gains knowledge. Okay, so let me begin. Now remember, like I said, so it's going to be a lot of. Like I said, I'm going to give you the names, and then I will give you my take on it, and see where it goes. Let's have a little fun, huh? Okay. Okay, we got what we call is the Alpha Draconians. Let's see if I can do it this way here. Okay, yeah, I can do it this way. Nope, yes I can. Okay, we have what we call the Alpha Draconians. These are reptilian beings who are said to have established colonies in Alpha Draconius. That's in the star system of Draconia. Like all reptilians, these claim to have originated on Terra thousands of years ago, a fact that they used to justify their attempts to retake the Earth for their own. Um, it is believed that the Draconians have been here. In fact, some people believe, or I should say, is that some researchers believe is that the Draconians are the ones working with the Greys that are the bosses, you might say, um, with Earth humans. With Earth humans, and that um, deals have been made between the Greys and the deals have been made with the reptilians and also with the Greys. What type of deals have been made by the government um, is abductions, experimentation, seeding. What I mean by seeding is creating hybrid food, believe it, even food, and I'm not talking about animal food. I'm talking about human food, um, and for the exchange of for the exchange of technology. In fact, um, I'm trying to think of the person's name. Shaver, no, not Shaver. Richard Shaver uh, for the Shaver mystery. Wrote an article about his findings of a tunnel to an underground city. This goes back in the early 50s again, and met a few of races that have been underground for many centuries. Um, and Schneider, Bill Schneider, when he was going around the lecture circuit, when he was working at Area 51, creating underground, not bunkers, but what should I'm trying to think of the word. Underground. Oh, I'm trying to think of the word. Underground. Well, let's just say I don't want to use it, but I will. Is the underground bases and tunnels connecting? There we go. Connecting tunnels. When he talked about the reptilians and how there was a war down below, and how many security guards from 51 were killed, as with the reptilians themselves. Yes, they do bleed. You shoot them just like any other, and just like any other animal or human, they're going to bleed and die. Okay, so yeah, so they've been around. So they've been around for centuries, centuries, centuries. Um, they are apparently a major part of a planned invasion, which is eventually turning from covert infiltration mode to overt invasion mode as the window of opportunity. The time span before international human society becomes an interplanetary and interstellar power slowly begins to close. They don't want to have us go up there. They really, to colonize. People have been talking about, yeah, well, let's colonize, people are saying is, yeah, well, let's colonize the moon, let's colonize Mars. In fact, believe it or not, there are real estate agents from major real estate companies that already have claims on the moon and also on Mars. Believe it or not, which means that they already got their real estate picked out. They already got their real estate picked out as to sell. That once we start to send colonies, begin to send colonies up there to the moon and also to Mars. So it's not as strange as what people think. All right. All right. The Draconians also have an inbred warrior instinct. They do not want us to attain interstellar capabilities and therefore become a threat to their imperialistic agendas, which means that they will start a war with us as to really try to stop us. Okay, and like I said, there have been wars, and like I said, there already has been wars against them at Area 51. Now I don't know about Dose at the moment. I really haven't been keeping track, but I do know by what Bill Schneider has talked about is yes, there has been like I said, there has been skirmishes and battles against against the Alpha Draconians. Could they win? If we would really get into a war, really get into a hand-to-hand combat with them, I would say yes. We're not talking about because saying that they got the ray guns, like you see on Star Trek, and stuff, or stun guns and stuff like that. Okay, they might be smart little critters, but I don't think that their technology would be put it like this, that their technology might be a little bit more advanced than ours. But when it came right down to a war, I think we got the manpower. All right. The amphibians. These are similar to the reptoids, yet being humanoid creatures with reptilian as well as amphibian-like features, and are semi-aquatic in nature. You might say mermaids. In that regards. Not saying is that they are fully mermen or mermaids, but come close to it because they are aquatic. Okay, so the amobia-like creatures. They reside over the polar regions of the Earth. There is no name that that the researchers can find. These have shown up periodically over the last 10 years. NASA is working on this. Every time they've been detected, all kinds of strange illnesses break out. they don't know how they can keep alive and be in outer space. NASA does a lot of strange things and keeps a lot of strange information from the American public. Naturally is that they say is that they're getting private funding, but I don't think so. I think it's again one of the black projects that the American people don't know about. So I would say is that NASA is being funded by our tax dollars. And so I feel is that anything that NASA does find out there, either with the Space Hubble or through the international space stations or space station or whatever, is that they should really come out and be transparent with the American public. All right, now we got the Anakim, also referred to as ELS, short for elder race. The elder race, you might say, goes back to the biblical times, or even farther back, with Babylon, with residing in Mesopotamia, again Egypt, might even say with in the Himalayas, however you want to pronounce it. And I could maybe say is that they are part of the white, with the White Brotherhood, or the three sacred chiefs. Referred to in ancient Hebrew tradition, this race is allegedly tied in with a branch of ancient humans who broke off from mainstream humanity because of their vast size, which had developed over the centuries, possibly as a result of a genetic anomaly. They are said to range from 9 to 11 feet tall. Would you classify them as good basketball players? Although in configuration they are remarkably similar to international humans, are said to possess a means of molecular condensing and expansion, which allows some of their kind to mingle among humans on the surface. What they mean by this, what the investigator means by this, is that they can shrink themselves, or they can make themselves larger. I think the best way to say that is like a rat. You know, a rat can fit through a hole about the size of a quarter, and all they do is just shrink them, and because of their body makeup, is they can shrink themselves to where they can scurry right through a hole. I know, I've seen this. I had problems with a couple of fruit rats, and tried to. I wish I had a net. I could have caught them a lot faster, but because I didn't, let me tell you, rats can run. Can they run? And they don't go in the middle of the floor like most animals do. Is that they run along the baseboards. Okay, so I had this one fruit rat that chewed a hole about maybe that's if you can see it, maybe that size. All right, and here I am trying to chase. I got the doors open and I'm trying to make him go outside, and he wouldn't go. And all of a sudden he got. I forgot to block his entranceway into the wall, and all of a sudden, zoop! In he went, and I couldn't understand how. I couldn't understand how in the hell that damn rat could get into that. Could get into that damn hole. But I found out they can um, shrink themselves because of their body structure, and right through it, go right in there. It went. Had a lot of fun trying to chase. Had a lot of fun. Finally got him though. Uh, but I had to set up a trap, not to kill it, um, but just set up a trap. Boom, caught it, and I took it out into a field. So, anyways, these are the elders. They have, like I said, they have a lot of to where they can make themselves large, make themselves small, and if they make themselves to human size, then they can walk around. Now you gotta remember something. There's a lot of aliens that can mingle with humans. You might see one in Walmart, or shopping, or in a movie theater, or at a restaurant, or maybe on the beach. You have no idea, because they almost look exactly like us, and you never know it. Like I said, with MIBs, the only way you can tell an MIB if it's a government spook, um, is the eyes. If you can get off the black, the band ray sunglasses, you will see is that the eyes are, like with brown, like with black-eyed children. Okay, so they do mingle. They're with us. Probably heard of the Andromedans. You probably heard like the movie The Andromedan Strain. Back in the what was it, the late '60s, early '70s. Pretty good movie. But anyways, the Andromedan Council has ordered all extraterrestrial presences on the planet, in the planet and on the moon to be completely out of our space. They want everything that's ET, malevolent or not, off the planet. This will be very interesting, since there are over 1,833 reptilians living in our planet, and over 18,000 greys living underground and on the moon. Now, I'm going to tell you something. All right, a lot of people don't think that there's no secret, that there's no bases on the far side of the moon, or there is no type of bases on the bright side. All right, I don't know if I mentioned this, but this happened. Maybe I did. Okay, maybe I did some in one of the videos that I created, but this was back in 1964. My dad got me a field telescope. It wasn't a cheap telescope. It was about, oh hell, about maybe this size. Okay, and it had the tripod with it. So one night, really moonlit night, is that I'm outside on the patio, and I set the telescope up, and I was looking out across the lake and in the distance, and changed it to where I was looking out at the stars, and I decided to see, because it was that bright out, and the moon was that big, I decided to point the damn thing to the moon, to the bright side. And I actually saw somebody actually walking, okay, and I followed this person, or whatever. Now I thought it was my imagination. Um, I stopped and I rubbed my eyes, and then I looked back and I was looking for whatever I saw, and I caught it again and I watched it. I never mentioned that experience um, my whole life because I didn't want people thinking I was, but I actually saw, and I knew at that time in '64, being at that age, never knew that, after for the space program, I don't think that we sent anybody up to. I don't remember we sending anybody up there. So yes, I do believe is that there are bases on the other side, on the dark side. Okay, so this is what they were saying about living on the moon. Okay, the council would like to see how we will live with each other when we are not being manipulated by ETs, as we have been for the last 5,723 years. The Anunnaki. Probably, I imagine all you people who are watching this video have heard of the Anunnaki in one way or another. If not, the Nimrod in Iraq. Nimrod was a worshiper of Aun. Nimrod, unlike Abraham, did not believe in an unseen deity. Nimrod wanted Abraham to worship Anu, the Most High, known as El Yahweh, El Yahweh, El. Nimrod was the founder of the city of Babylon. Uh, unlike Abraham, did not believe in an unseen. Oh, okay. Nimrod was the founder of the city of Babylon, and his most renowned architectural influence was the construction of the Tower of Babel. Everybody remembers the Tower of Babel. Lightning, when Gabriel and I forget the other angel that came down. What went first um, was Babel. All right. Nimrod also had a city named in honor of Anu. It was to be called Kalin or Karnaim, Genesis 10:10, meaning fortress of Anu. It used to be an ancient city of Babylon. Mesopotamia, Kalun is often associated with Nippur, which is one of 7 cities that was inhabited by the agreeable Anunnaki. Nippur was also known as Kadesh. It was originally called Nimiquai, meaning earth place Nibiru. It was the city of, well, anyways, yada yada yada. Okay. Anyways, we all heard of the Anunnaki. Okay. Um, Anticarterion. Anyways, this is allegedly a secret area of operation for both human and reptilian beings. It is said by some that Aryan Nazi scientists actually developed disc-shaped aircraft capable of very advanced aerial performance, and that swastikas have been seen on a few of these aerial discs. I mentioned that. I think I mentioned that in the last. I think that I mentioned that in the last video. Is that when the Nazis got their asses out of Germany. They went to Peru, and also stationed themselves up in the Antarctic. Okay, one of the reasons that Admiral Byrd was ordered to go to the Antarctic is because the government, or G2, or you want to call it our CIA, found out is that Nazis were residing up there. It's also believed is that the Nazis were working with a particular, with a particular Aryan race. Could have been the reptilians or whoever. And they were building and they were actually building UFOs, not only supposedly in Peru, but also in the Antarctic. Okay, so that's the reason why Admiral Byrd went up there with a major force. Okay, they may be piloted by a purebred, blonde, blue-eyed alien race. That was the whole. How should I say that? That was the whole idea with Hitler, to have complete purity within the German people, to get rid of all the bad blood that circulated through a person's body. You purify the blood, you are purified. You are completely purified, and that's what Hitler believed. All right, and that's why he wanted the blue-eyed, the purebred, blonde, blue-eyed Aryan race. There appears to be more than one blonde human society involved in the UFO scenario, and especially subterranean human societies may have developed blonde-haired blonde-haired due to lack of sunlight. There does not seem to be anything more than a peripheral connection between the Anaconturians, the Telosians, and the Palladian blondes. We call them these blondes are called, you probably heard, the Nordics. All right. The Nordics look like humans. They act like humans. They could be mingling with humans. In fact, I think that Travis Walton mentioned. When he was abducted is that there was the short grays that were the 3 foot, and also with the blue-eyed blonde, hair type of human that supposedly had control over the Greys. So, anyways, those are them. Now, like I said, I'm going to have some problems trying to pronounce. I'm going to have some problems pronouncing, but I'll just give you what I feel how it should be pronounced, and I still give you my take on each one. Okay, the famous abductee Betty Hill, who along with his wife Betty was abducted by Zeta reptilian Greys in 1961. Stated under regressive hypnosis that he had encountered an evil-eyed German Nazi working with the Greys on board the craft. Well, again, if it's true that the Nazis were actually, if the Nazis were actually working with the Greys, is that okay? And with the Nordic, that particular race I just mentioned previously, either in Peru or in the Antarctic. That's what he is going to. That's what he's going to see is a Nazi. Okay, blah blah blah. Working with. It is claimed that the original treaty with the Greys was established by the Bavarian through an Illuminati societies in as early as 1933. I mentioned the Thule Society. The Thule Society, actually, when it began back in the I think, was in the late 20s, is that it was a literary club. People would talk about, sit around and talk about the new books that were out by famous German authors. But all of a sudden, it kind of changed. It started to move into a direction of occultism, and that began to start about 1930, about the early 30s, 1932, 1933, and Hitler had become a member of the society. Okay. And this collaboration was brought into America via the CIA, which was established with the help of American Nazi fifth column agents as well as European Nazis who were brought into America through Project Paperclip and other operations. Well, this writer or investigator established by the Bavarian Thule, okay, and the Bavarian Thules and the Bavarian Illuminati in 17, let's see, I'm going to be pretty close here. In 17, let's see, we were having our little thing going in Philadelphia to try to get a constitution going in 1776, just about the same time as at the Bavarian Society was trying to create the Illuminati with this founder, gentleman named Westphal. Okay, and what happened is that the Bavarian government didn't like what the hell was going on, and they cleaned house. The Bavarian government cleaned house, and a lot of the Bavarian Illuminati, scattered into other countries. Whatever happened to Westphal, I forget at this time. But when things kind of set, okay, but throughout the centuries, getting up from 17, 18, 19, 19th, 20th century, getting back to 1933, all of a sudden it was like they came. Let me rephrase that. My memory is just coming back on this. Is that the Bavarian Illuminati infiltrated, that's right, infiltrated the Freemasons. And they tried, and as the Bavarian, the Bavarian Illuminati tried, began to infiltrate the Freemason. They wanted to change things around. They wanted to change things around a little bit, which was I feel beginning to happen. And this is why is that people have a lot of misconception about the Freemasons, because they say the Freemasons are belonging to the Freemasons are the Illuminati. They are establishing the New World Order. And with all the, a lot of people don't understand is that there's not that people heard about the 33rd degree, with the 33rd degrees. Actually, there's actually 99 degrees. Anybody that's in the 34, 35th, and up to the 99, they are more into really into the secrets of the inner vaults, if you will, of the Freemasons. Just like a person who is in a who is in a magical society, say like with the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, or with the OTO, for an example. Once you become a 6 equals 5, or a 7 equals 3, 7 equals 4, is that you are learning a lot more and also gaining a little bit more knowledge of the inner workings of the order itself. And there's 3 tiers, okay, there are 3 tiers of the OTO, and I think within the Golden Dawn there's also 3 tiers as well. Just like in the Masons, just like in the Masons, the higher you go for a degree, the more that you move into another tier of the organization. Just like with the Moose, or with the Elves, uh, or with the trying to think of another one here. The Moose, or the Elks, or the Knights of Columbus, or any of the other type of organizations that are into existence. But Bavarian Illuminati, when, like I said, when they began to infiltrate the Freemasons, is when a lot of shit began to happen, and they got their ass kicked out. All right, so there's been a lot of misconception about the Freemasons. Okay, anywho, it is claimed that the original treaty with the Greys was established by the Bavarian Thule and Illuminati societies as early as 1933, and this collaboration was brought into America via the CIA. Actually, I don't think the CIA really. Some people say that the CIA was created after World War II with Wild Bill Donovan, Colonel Wild Bill Donovan. If it was the CIA back then, it had to been, something a little bit different than what it is, it is today. Sometimes the G2 has always been, the G2, G3 has always been in existence with the Army. That's their intelligence. That's their intelligence branch. Just like the Navy has their own intelligence branch, and the Air Force has theirs, So each branch of the services has their own intelligence branches. Okay, but I do believe it could have been, instead of the CIA back then, it could have been G2 or G3 or even 4. The Interiaries, alien group the alien group that was affiliated with the Montauk Project, but only as observers. They look human. The Montauk Project. The Montauk Project was I got to go back into my memory banks here. The Montauk Project was a project back in Montauk, New York, back in the late 70s, for time travel. That's what it was. For time travel. And again, this was classified as another black project by the United States government. and people who have belonged to the project back, who retired from it, you might say, have talked about is that people have gone back into time from or maybe it was the 80s. Anyways, it was either the late or early 80s because people were kept saying is that when they time traveled, they went back into this about 1972 to 1974. Now, again, this also could have been with the Montauk Project, which something I heard, but I really don't know too much about, is sending not only through time travel in that sense, but also like Beam Me Up Scotty to send people to like to Mars, for an example. Okay, there was a lot of weird things going on. We had back in the 40s. Hell, we had back in the 40s with the USS Aldrich going with the Philadelphia experiment that they said is that the ship disappeared from the Philadelphia shipyard and going to Norfolk, Virginia, for an example. And they got pictures of the Aldrich at the pier in Philadelphia, and also they got the Aldrich at Norfolk. So, like I said, so a lot of strange things uh, um, have occurred throughout the years that a lot of people just don't know about because of black projects by the government, which is again your taxes that's paying for it. And I think the Congress has tried to bring out some of them. Congress is not supposed to ask what the projects are. They're just supposed to give the money. Okay, and I do feel is that they should really ask just what type of project is happening. But then again, if we would come out, I mean, like the people that are asking for the money for the project to bring anything out, then naturally it's national security. Okay, so like I said, it's crazy, but that's what I do remember of the Montauk Project. There was with time travel, and also I think by beaming up to Scotty, sending people to the moon and also to Mars. Okay, I do not know if the project is still in existence. I do remember, like I said, hearing about it and doing research on it again back in the 80s and 90s. Okay, all right. Okay, the Arcturians. Everybody probably has heard of the Arcturians. These are the most advanced civilizations in our entire galaxy, according to Edgar Casey, the Sleeping Prophet. Casey was damn good as I don't want to classify him as a mental medium or as a physical medium, but when he went into deep trances, that he could go to the Ashkak records and get out any type of information, especially about medicine, probably with physics and other heavy duty chemistry, that those type of subjects. So I imagine is that Casey might have taken a astral journey to Arturia, um, and had some dealings. Of course, we do have a lot of believe it or not, is that we do have a lot of dealings. When we astral project, and also sometimes your dreams will give you the hint of who you are again, who you are in contact with. All right. So whatever Casey came out with this group, you should take his word. A lot of people thought he was a fake, fraud, and phony. Of course, these are the skeptics, but they found out by reading his notes or that were written down, which was written down. I think he had a secretary that took the notes when he was in trance state. So she just what's the word I'm looking describe? No, not describe. Anyways, typed everything out, and the skeptics found out that he was not giving a lot of bullshit. Okay. Oh, the Atlans. These are humans usually described as being malevolent by comparison to other groups who are said to inhabit vast and complex cavern cities beneath southern Brazil and surrounding regions. The term Atlantean or Atlan, in reference to these races, has been placed upon them because of the fact that these cavern networks along the east coast of Brazil were reportedly once a part of the Atlantean Empire. The present inhabitants have no direct genetic relation to the ancient Atlantean society, which is said to have controlled these cavern systems several millennia ago, but are referred to as Atlanteans simply because they are descendants of those who rediscovered and inhabited the ancient Antillean installations. As in North America and other continents, both common and gnome-like humans have been encountered here, some of which possesses advanced aerial or disc technology. The Telenosians claim to have some connections with South America, especially the Mato Grosso region, where a sister city named Posid exists in a large caravan system underground. Well, who cares? Bigfoot. Naturally, we all heard of Bigfoot. Sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. Okay, Benarians, inhabitants of the Benardes star system. Although not much has been written about them, it seems that human beings, at least in part, control this star system along with the Orange, which I'll be talking about shortly. Whether the Saurians have any influence or not is uncertain. However, some sources indicate a possible collaboration similar to that within our own solar system. Butans, reptilians from the Boots system. These and reptilian entities from the Draconia system are allegedly involved with the Deluxe scenario, as well as the infiltration, interplantation control of human society on Earth in anticipation of their planned takeover at some point in the future. Again, the Draconian. The Blue People. The Cherokee tell the story of a race of people that were blue-skinned that they came upon when they entered the lands of Kentucky. They bragged over wiping them up, but we have recently found out that this may not be the case, and they still exist in the tunnel and cave systems of Kentucky and surrounding areas. The burrowers. another mutation of the saurian or serpent race that is capable of burrowing through the earth. Possible quadrupedal as well as pedal or bipedal. There have been known These have been known to use their natural boring abilities to create artificial tunnels like moles, or even spontaneously produced cave-ins. The latter has allegedly been used in attempts to entrap or kill unsuspecting intruders into the underground domains. And this is what Bill Schneider was talking about when he went on his lecture circuit, when he was working at Area 51 when he went down. And this is the reason why there was, as he's explained, a lot of cave-ins down below, and also is that what he mentioned is that humans were supposed to be like at this particular level, and the Saurians and the reptilians or whatever were supposed to be down below. But what happened is that the people up here went down below here, and this is where they had a major shootout, and both sides were killed. Okay. All right. The Bhutas, being that dwell in spiritual darkness, the person may be intellectually developed. The Bhuta are normally associated with nightmares, abductions, and the taking of small children. They usually come around at night. The gray aliens who abductions falls into this category. The reptilians are also part of this group. They are usually not very physically attractive. Apparently, long ago, there was a visitation by Bhuta called Washishans, who were negative, powerful, aggressive beings. Remember, I told you in my last tape the difference between aliens and OEs, occult entities, and I mentioned about, say for an example, I mentioned about the old hag that people said they have experienced with, or the incubus and the succubus, but I quite didn't really get too much into what the incubi or succubi is. That I said is that they were so-called demons that cause people that had sex with them, male and female, at night. Let's just say is that the incubi and the succubi were or are the Bhutas, all right? And what about, and I mentioned about the hat men, the shadow people. Just think of them as the Bhutas, okay? So like I said, there's a lot of, a lot of stories that are not legend, that are true. They are not, or again, not classified as urban legends. All right. Okay, the sentients, a human race of Mediterranean or South American appearing tan-skinned humans, very similar to Caucasian humans on Terra, except for slight differences: slightly pointed ears, higher physical density for their size, slightly broader nose, 5'5" tall on average, and also wears short Roman or crew style haircuts. So I have personally seen these type of aliens. Believe it or not, like I said, is that they're walking among us. In fact, if I remember rightly, if you excuse me for 1 minute, and I hope that you can hear me, is that um, there was a book out back in the ooh, um, I don't know if it was the 70s. It was probably the late 70s. Called Aliens Walk Among. It was called Aliens Walk Among Us. That was a book, like I said, written back in the late 70s or 80s called Aliens Walk Among Us. And it does tell about the aliens that look like humans that actually, like I says, intermingle with us. And we don't know if they're human or if they are um, aliens or aliens or not. Uh, um, the Sentians alliance with the Palladians or other societies who have been victimized by the gray predators is based on the desire to establish a common defense against their reptilian nemesis. Uh, Let me think. Valthor with Dr. Frank Strangers. Okay, when Valthor went when Valthor went to the Pentagon back in '54, is that he mentioned that his race have been watching other races. Okay. In fact, I'm going to kind of go to a sidebar here real quick. If anybody saw the day the Earth stood still with Michael Rennie, all right, that was on a take of I think I mentioned on Val Thor. Okay, and what did Rennie say? Is that the Planetary Alliance watches make sure that other planets do not try to, one, destroy themselves, two, if they were going to do space exploration, not to get in, not to find strange new worlds like Star Trek, you might say, and to conquer. All right. In fact, again, another sidebar here is that with Gene Roddenberry, I have a sneaky hunch that Roddenberry knew something about a lot of these races when he created Star Trek. He talked about the blue. I talked about the blues, right? Talked about some of these other particular races, and just by the description of them, is that it's taken my mind back to a lot of the Star Trek episodes to where these people have been, or aliens have been seen on their particular planets. So something, Roddenberry probably had something going on with some alien races that was giving him the information for the series. Just think about that for a moment. All right. The chameleon Reptilians, particularly bred to enable themselves to appear human. It's just like with the chameleon, with the newt. That's with the chameleon that can change colors to blend in. Um, I'm going to say I'm going to take a stab here and might say also shape shift also with shape shifters. Okay, um, and talk to the Indians about shapeshifters. I did with when I was with the up there in the north of Wisconsin. Okay. Also less humanoid appearing reptoids who use a form of technosis, molecular shape shifting. There we go. Molecular shape shifting or laser holograms to produce an outward human appearance. Reports of these have surfaced from underground point operation facilities near Duluth, New Mexico, uh, Dugway, Utah, Groom Lake, Nevada, Deep Springs, California, and Fort Lewis, Washington, and elsewhere. They are reportedly involved in some type of infiltration agenda. These infiltrators can appear remarkably human outwardly, however, at the same time retaining reptilian and no saurian internal organs, often described as appearing bulge-eyed with scaly hairless skin behind their disguise. One report alleged that the chameleons may utilize artificial lenses to conceal slit pupillide irises. Some claim they have genetically bred mercenaries who are part of the advance guard of a planned silent invasion takeover of human society, which could happen. It could be that new, October. What's been going on in politics is that there has been some really October surprises, but this might be the daddy of all daddies of October surprises with the United States. Never know the strange things. I mean, you get onto YouTube and you will see Doomsday and Armageddon and what's that in the Bible with Genesis getting into people are going to be lifted up, and crap like that. I'm trying to think of a word. Okay. Well, anyways, I can't think of a word right now. But anyways, you never know. Like I said, 2016 has really been a weird year. And if we go into numerology, in fact, I'll do that. In fact, I'll do that right now. Let's see. Okay, 20. That's 7. That's 9. Okay, we have 9, and 9 is between 2016. All right, 2 plus 1 equals 3 plus 6 equals 9. 9 equals a completion number, or it can also mean something that's beginning anew. Okay. So if we go to 2017, we go to 2 and 7 is 9 plus 1 is 10. And you break that down to 10 is 1. So that means is that completion coming up is coming is here, and next year will be a new era. It would be a new era. What's going to happen within this new era? Will have nobody, not even psychics or mediums, can tell you. Okay, it's been that strange. It has definitely been that strange. Like I said, is that you have a couple of groups out that's been trying to get Congress to come out with disclosure that aliens, UFOs and aliens do reside here on Earth. That's they've been trying to do for 10 or 20 years. We've been talking about us researchers, investigators, bring this stuff out on YouTube and also on the Sci-Fi channel and the Travel channel and this channel and that channel. And people always think is that we're wearing the tinfoil hats and that we're just like in the paranormal, all right, with the skeptics. And like I said, I'll be getting into that last chapter with the aviary, all right. So it's like, hey, so maybe you think by me reading and giving you my intake on the aliens here, you probably think that I'm cuckoo. You've probably been thinking I've been cuckoo all along, going with the metaphysical and the esoteric. You got to remember something. Remember I talked about mystery schools? Going way back? Well, what the hell do you think is that people were being taught in mystery schools going way back? There are still things as that are not brought out in mystery schools. Okay? It's like, why? Or they wouldn't be classified as mystery schools anymore. Even with your occult societies like with the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, or with the OTO, or with the Santorini. I'm trying to think of one that's from Germany. Not Centurions. The Centurions. Okay, which is a major offshoot of the OTO, and other small and groups that have been around for hundreds of years. The good fellow, not the good fellow. Here, see if I can, wait a minute, see here. If I have it, my little thing here. Maybe I don't. Do I? Is it close by? No, it's not close by. But there are about 100, maybe 200 type of organizations that do touch upon a little of the of occultism, and again with ufology. Okay, like I said, over 200 of them. So yes, do these people know something that we are not supposed to know? Yeah. Okay. Oh, all right. Okay, the Deros. All right. Some believe, the Deros, some believe them to be human while others see them as non-human. These are the beings from which comes our legends of leprechauns and trolls. unlike the Taros, this little beings, this little beings are considered demented, are considered demented and cannot be trusted. The Taros try to keep them under control and keep them from having excessive power. I'll be talking about the Taros later on. Again, the Taros live in underground tunnels, cities, and under the sea. This group of insane, this group of insane wave killers, dwellers, were called Sumawanas, meaning the obese ones. They grow to several feet and are extremely obese. Some people might say the Buddhas. If you ever see like pictures of Buddha, for an example, or statues of Buddha, you know, they got the boom. I mean, they're obese, right? Okay, never know. Okay, they grow to 7 feet and are extremely obese. The Deros who live in the caves are deranged so much that they don't have much intelligence. And I could get into a particular type of political party, but I'm not. They have 2 stomachs, and their digestive system is the same as that of a cow. Deros and cows both chew the cud, meaning when they eat, they chew their food and it goes through the initial stages of digestion where it reaches a large sac that is before the true stomach. The food is then regurgitated to the mouth for further chewing. This is called chewing the cud, right? The Derons have no fingernails, toenails, nipples, navel, or rectum. I wonder how they get rid of body waste. Their eyes are silver gray, and they glow in the dark. They have blonde eyebrows and a pinkish gray color skin, much like the corpse of a Caucasian, and a pig having not being exposed to the inner or outer sun. Other than their eyebrows, they have no hair on their bodies because of a disease called something I'm not going to pronounce, and are responsible for the diseases trichinosis and trichinitis. They have no teeth. Their mouth appears to be full of gummy, slimy substance. They are nautical and have extreme. They are nautical and hear extremely well. All right. What I just read to you for a description, who does that remind you of in Star Wars? Jabba the Hutt. Okay, Jabba the Hutt. What I just read to you for a description is like Jabba the Hutt. Maybe Spielberg knows something about aliens. Maybe Spielberg knows something about aliens as well that we don't know about. They're not very peaceful and have a strong dislike for human beings. They are very human in appearance, yet far from it. Their noses are long, trunk-like, which is very similar to that of an elephant. They contend that the planet Earth was theirs originally and will be theirs again one day. Many people today who are obese are descendants of the Deros. I'm talking about those people who have a serious weight problem, weight over 300 pounds, which is abnormal for a human being. It is obviously a hereditary glandular problem, and is caused by overactive glands or pituitary gland. Certain Endocrine gland disorders such as hyperthyroidism or tumors of the adrenal gland, pancreas, or pituitary gland can cause obesity. It is a trait who they are from, the Deros. And I saw, and I hate to say it, but I saw a person the other day when I went to get something to eat, and I really felt sorry for this person. This guy must have weighed over 400 pounds. I mean, it was, it was, to my way of thinking, it was sad. All right, it was really sad to see this person. He had to take up. I mean, when he sat down in one chair, the chair, his rear end, just swallowed up the damn chair. When he got up, he had to wobble. All right, I really felt sorry for the guy, and I just hope that things change for him for the better. Dinosauroid. Let me say that again. Dinosauroids, human dinosaurs, the saurians, from the Nevada Aerial Okay, this comes from this one comes from the Nevada Aerial Research Journal. All right. Daniel Russell, curator of fossil vertebrates at the National Museum of Canada in Ottawa, has developed a theory that that intelligent life forms could have developed from the large reptiles that roamed the earth in ancient times. Russell calls these imaginary creatures a dinosauroid, which would look like a hairless, green-skinned reptile with a bulging skull, luminous cat-like eyes, and three-fingered hands. The amphibians evolved into a humanoid species that eventually developed a culture that ran its course and was destroyed in the Atlantis-like catastrophe just after they had begun exploring extraterrestrial frontiers. Certain UFO nauts, then, may be the descendants of the survivors of that amphibian culture, returning from their space colony to monitor the present dominant species of the home planet. Okay, I don't know if anybody saw the Mothman prophecies, but this was a being called the Dracos. Um, the leader elite of the reptilians are the Draco. They even have special wings, which are flaps of skin supported by long ribs. They can be folded back against the body. They are also known as the dragon race, and their symbology usually includes the winged serpent, also known as the Mothman. These are elements. There are elements of the species which do not have wings. Soldier class of the species and scientists. The Draco boards, cybernetic forms controlled by reptilian entities. These would also include those forms which are emanated by fallen supernatural or parapsychological or paraphysical entities, whether of gray human-like mechanical or other configuration. Some of those who suggest that humans appearing infiltrators of the type may exist in our society, and that certain characteristics may give them away, i.e., the eyes, a slight sulfurous smell, unrefined features such as no fingerprints or ears, only body parts would seem to have a slightly artificial appearance. Again, some people have classified these aliens as MIBs. All right, which is classified MIBs. Now that the two that I had experience with back in high school, I really couldn't tell. I mean, you know the you know with the ears or whatever. Uh, but the ones that I think the ones that I experienced were part of the gray element. All right. Dragon worms. These creatures are largely subterranean and have been reported on very rare occasions. Although a mutation of the secret race, which lost the use of its limbs through centuries of I can't pronounce the word here. It is nevertheless apparently a part of the reptilian conspiracy. The dragon worms are reportedly very intelligent, according to certain sources. They have sometimes been described as appearing similar to a giant reptilian worm or slug. Ever see the movie? I'm trying to think. Come on, Clark. Um, um, well, for crying out loud, I can't think of the name right now. Um, the movie is with the worms, and then all of a sudden they convert into the graboids, and like that. I'm trying. Oh, I'll get the name later, like it usually comes up. But anyways, I wish I could say to take a break, but I cannot stop this. To put it on hold. So let's just take a break. So let me take a minor break here real quick. Okay, and for about 5 minutes, and I'll be right back with you. I gotta get back here. I just still can't think of the goddamn name. Tremors. That's what I wanted. Hello again. Okay, as I took my little break here, I was looking at my movies and what I was talking about. The dragon worms. If anybody saw the movie Tremors, that's what the dragon worms. I would classify them as looking like. Okay, let me continue. Okay. Okay, the dropouts. Humanoid type, average height 3 to 4 foot, crashed on the Syro-Tibetan border or Sino-Tibetan border in 10,000 BC. Again, could say is that the three secrets since with going with dropouts with the humanoid type, average 3 to 4, crashed on the Sino-Tibetan border, and the tribe of this culture still exists. They could have been what the Madame Blavatsky and McGregor Mathers, for Blavatsky with Theosophy and McGregor Mathers with the Hermetic Order of Gondon. We're talking about the three secret chiefs. Seems to me that kind of all fits in. We meet aliens somehow, some way. They can help or they can hinder. Okay, you got the factions. It's just like with gangs. Some gangs can, if we talk about like motorcycle gangs, you can have the Outlaws, the Diablos, the Hells Angels, and they can be bastards, or else you can have motorcycle motorcycle gangs that are veteran created, that help that help people. Okay. Anywho, let me continue here. Still got a little ways to go. One of my guys just kind of zipped right by. I told him to come in the front instead of the back. Okay, the dwarves, again, diminutive humans who have allegedly been encountered in or near caverns in various parts of the world, including Northern California and the southeastern Arizona, southern western New Mexico region, and in some in connection to UFOs, although most reported dwarf sightings in connection to UFOs are actually sightings of the Syrian Greys. They should not be confused with the small elementals or nature spirits, which some believe are earth-real in nature, yet have the ability to appear in solid or semi-solid form at times. The dwarf races are allegedly just as human as surface peoples, but average between 3 to 4 feet in height, although at times they have been seen as small as 2 feet. As with the giants or elders, this diminutivity may have resulted in a genetic anomaly which ran its course due to the separation of the races from the international gene pool. They allegedly live in subterranean systems to a large extent as a protective measure. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, they do have interstellar capabilities. We all have heard in the Bible the Elohims. Again, this is the oldest group of aliens in the universe that we know of. They are the ones that are at war with the Orlon, which are the ones that manipulated the Greys. Okay, ELS, again, giants are defined as elves, L acronyms, based on, all right, forget that Hebrew, okay, yada, 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 yada. The Garden of Eden in Greek literature, the Garden of the Hesperides, as the Dionysian Procesia once said, yada. Oh, I forget about that. All right, I'm going to kind of move a little bit. I'm going to kind of move a little bit faster here. Okay. No, in fact, what I think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to go into a part. I think I'm going to go into a part 2 here because I don't want to get into anything boring. So I'm going to make another tape here as a part 2 to alien races. Okay. So like I said, so it's not too boring here for you, and I hope that it's not. I mean, I hope that you might be learning something with this that I am trying to bring up to give you the information. And what I have, and again, what I have studied for many years with the help of other researchers and investigators. Just didn't do it on my own. Naturally contacted people throughout the years, people that know just a little bit more than I do, that have been in the field of ufology longer than I have. Like I said, I did meet people. All right, I did talk to people, I did communicate with people, and all information is from these people that I have made contact, with. This type of work is not easy, believe it or not. It's very time consuming. Sometimes it can be very exciting, sometimes it can be very, very boring, and you just have to have the diligence, the dedication, and the devotion to do it. Just like if you want to get yourself into just like if you want to get yourself into the metaphysical, you gotta have the same, that diligence, devotion, and and dedication. So like I said, I hope that you are enjoying, that you have enjoyed what I have brought out onto my channel of Opening the Door to the Unknown, and it's not quite unknown now. Okay, a lot of things. Would take years and years and yeah, years and years and years and years and years to touch upon. But I'm just bringing out what I think is the most interesting, that you might enjoy. Again, that you can do research. After watching my videos with other UFO groups, and I hope you do. That's the idea. I give you the information. I throw out the information. You absorb, you gain a little knowledge, and then you go and do the research and learn a little bit more and gain a little bit more knowledge. Okay, so like I said, later on, I hope sometime this afternoon, is that I will finish out the alien races and get into abductions, and then the last will be getting into the aviary, and you'll be surprised about the aviary. Okay. Anyways, this is Dr. Clark Schmidt signing off.